Alrighty. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend this webinar. We're really excited to show you some cool stuff. Just to kind of introduce myself first, my name is Farzad. I'm the Director of Marketing at Visme. I here have my boss, Payman Taei, the founder and CEO of Visme, the all-in-one visual communication tool. He's going to take over right after Randy's presentation, and basically show you guys some cool stuff inside Visme. So definitely hang around with us. We're going to have a lot of cool material to work with. And of course, the one and only Randy. Randy Krum is the data visualization expert. So pretty much if there was one person, an expert in infographics, that would be Randy Krum. Just to kind of tell you guys a little bit about his accomplishments. He's actually the author of the very popular book, Cool Infographics. The full title is Effective Communication with Data Visualization and Design. Definitely go check it out on Amazon. He's also the owner of the website, coolinfographics.com. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it. I check it on a weekly basis because I'm obsessed with infographics. So definitely pretty cool stuff there. Randy's also the founder and president of, Randy, correct me if I'm wrong, is this InfoNewt or InfoNewt?
Yep. No, it's InfoNewt, like the lizard.
Okay, perfect. I want to make sure I'm not messing it up. It's a data visualization design firm that I'm assuming you guys mainly specialize in infographics. He's also the organizer of the Dallas-Fort Worth Data Visualization Meetup, instructor of the data visualization design at Southern Methodist University. He also runs, as I mentioned, the coolinfographics.com, and I can keep on going on and on about Randy's accomplishments, but I know you guys are here to learn some awesome stuff from Randy, to learn how to level up your content marketing using infographics and being able to actually stand out from the rest of the noise out there. As you guys know, 90% of the content on the internet gets about zero traffic. So this is infographics are an awesome way to actually make your content unique in a way that people actually spend more time in. And aside from, obviously the aspect of being able to digest the material faster, they can also basically stick around the website a little more, right? Increase your time on site and also help with SEO. And of course, the viral aspect of things on social, which I'm sure Randy's gonna dive in and kind of give you guys a lot more info. All right, so without further ado, I want to hand this stage off to Randy Krum, everybody. And Randy, how's it going today?
It's going great. It's great to see everybody here.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
All right, so let's dive in one of my favorite topics, which is infographics. And we're going to run through this pretty quick. We'll blow this up. Right, so we're going to talk about using infographics in content marketing, which is not the only use, but is the primary use of infographics. So infographics in the last few years have become what I would call a staple of content marketing, right? So along with blog posts and guest blog posts and photos and videos and publishing white papers or ebooks, infographics have really become a common piece of a content strategy that people use in content marketing. And so what do I mean by an infographic? So an infographic is one of these really all-encompassing storytelling vehicles, this format that includes some data visualizations, sometimes multiple data visualizations, along with text and icons and a cohesive format that tells a good story. And it's all put together in one infographic, like this one about e-patients. I think this one has like 25 different data visualizations in it, from bar charts to grids and pie charts, along with icons and illustrations and text, just to tell this cohesive story. And we can publish this one JPEG image, which is the infographic. And we know how popular infographics have really grown into as part of content marketing. So this is Google Trends data. And so Google publishes publicly how frequently people use certain keywords in their search box. So when they enter search terms. And you can see back in, say, 2011 to 2013, 2014, the use of the word infographic. When people were searching for data, they would throw in the word infographic because they really, really like to find visual references for whatever content they're searching for, was really on an upswing. And so it was really going strong between 2012, 2013, 2014. 2015, it hit a new high. And between 2015 all the way through 2019, it has just been this really strong staple, this consistent use in content marketing. And as we all know, this year has been a unusual year with coronavirus. And because of it, a huge year in data visualization. We've all talked about flattening the curve and visualizing the data about COVID-19 and stuff like that. And you can see here, infographics have also enjoyed a brand new spike in 2020 that we have increased yet again another 20% in the number of people that are searching for infographics. They're just craving that information and they want it visually. They want it in an easy to digest infographic. So the best types of infographics that companies can use for their content marketing, right? The most popular to read, the most popular to like or to share are, popular, interesting topics, but specifically they really need to be related to your business. I've seen a lot of companies tempted to create infographics that are just whatever the hot topic is that may or may not be related to the business they're in, and that doesn't help them strategically from content marketing. You really want the infographic to be related to the business that you're in, related to your industry, because those keywords in the title are the keywords that people use to search and find your infographic. You want that to be related to your business. And we're going to talk about that in the second half real quick. The most popular, clearly far and away, the most popular types of infographics are what I call informative infographics. And, how-to is one aspect of those, where it's valuable content, informative content for the audience. Like this one is showing, how to bake an apple pie, or how to match a shirt and a tie, or how to tell if you have the cold or the flu. Where it's valuable to your audience. They're interested to read it. They're interested to share it because it doesn't feel like an advertisement. It doesn't feel like a heavy sales pitch. It does have the company logo and the contact information and sometimes a call to action at the bottom, but it's not something that's really pushing, say, a company's products or services. It's just really commonly informative and valuable information to your audience. Now, the most common format for infographics online are what I call a tall format. Some people call it long format. I call it a tall format. It's really easy for web browsers to scroll up and down. It's really easy, literally, physically for your finger to work on your mouse to scroll up and down. It's harder for you to scroll side to side. This works really well if online on your website or your blog is the primary place you're going to be sharing your information. But they don't work so well if you're going to use them in, say, presentations, sales presentations or something like that. You can see these. I've had to shrink down so far to fit on this presentation slide that you can't even hardly read any of the text. So if you're going to print them out or you're going to use them in presentations, you may want to try a different type of format and not the tall format. But if online, if that is your primary vehicle for your content marketing publishing strategy, then these tall formats work fabulously when you design them. So you can use a different format. So this one uses more of a wide format. It's informative. It's showing how affiliate marketing works, but it's more of a wide format and was actually designed to not only be shared online as a graphic, but has been printed as posters or printed out as handouts to give out in a sales presentation or a meeting, that type of thing. And so if you know that type of thing going into your infographic design, it really helps if you're going to have multiple formats. Companies also use infographics not only for content marketing to, say, consumers or end users, but also to the press. So this was a design from Honda when they released the 2013 Honda Accord, which is a whole brand new redesign of the Honda Accord. And it was an infographic totally designed to be released to the press, members of the press. And you can see here on the right, they turn it into one of these tall retractable banners that they displayed during these press events around the country where they were revealing the new design of the Honda Accord. And they handed it out on a USB drive and in print form in the press kit to the members of the press that came to these events. And it was only months later that they threw the image up on, say, their press Flickr feed, I think is where they put it. And it was available to the public. But really, the whole design in this case was driven towards designing information for the press. And this is another one similar, hotels.com. on their press website, not on their main consumer website, but on their press website, had a whole series of infographics about the hotel industry, because hotels.com had a whole bunch of industry information that they aggregate because they do reservations for all the whole major hotel chains. They could sort of see trends changing over the hotels industry, and so they would release that information to the press. We also see a lot of infographics about very serious topics, humanitarian organizations, charities, nonprofits. They all have some very serious messages that are data driven, and that they're also trying to get their message out as to why they need resources, why they need people to volunteer, why they need people to donate money, why they're trying to encourage changes in laws and stuff like that. And so they use infographics quite heavily and quite effectively in their marketing campaigns as well. Facebook even put out some infographics. This was an infographic about what happens when you report a post. Say it was like a spam type report and you hit the report button. They put out a series of infographics about what happens in the background when you report a post. And that was really meant to not only inform consumers, but also to inform the news and the press about what's going on. Companies, again, another retractable banner, using infographics to get their word out at trade shows or as handouts. I call this a company elevator pitch, where they want to, in say 30 seconds or so, communicate what is it they do as a company and what do they want you to remember about them as a company. There are a whole bunch of things called infographic resumes. A lot of individuals are now using the best things about infographics to design a resume for job searches. But from a content marketing standpoint, I wanted to bring up that companies are now using infographics as a recruiting tool. And I've seen a number of infographics related to, say, job openings if you're hiring, or infographics about what's it like to work at this company and what you can expect. So it may not be specific to a specific job opening, but it may just be an infographic about what's it like in the company environment at that location, or what's it like to work at home. If it's a remote position, you're working from home, but you're working for that company. And so a lot of companies have driven a lot of traffic to their websites by using infographics as a recruiting tool, and bringing in that audience as well. And then as we get more and more advanced in the design of infographics, whether they're interactive or animated like these infographics, there are a lot of tools you can use to create some really interesting, engaging features in infographics that really will engage your users and make them not only more attractive for viewers and readers, but also shareable. So my three key points that I really push, whether we're designing an infographic or whether I'm teaching people to design infographics, are that a good infographic is understood fairly quickly. Usually people are only reading infographics somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds. It's not a long form for content. You want it to be something quick and easy to digest. If you have long form content, say a longer article, an infographic that's a quick blurb or a quick summary of your article that then attracts people to come and read the longer form article is great, but don't try to put all of your content from a long form post into an infographic itself. We want our infographics to be memorable. That's a big reason of why we use visuals. We use charts, we use icons, we use illustrations. That helps make our information and our infographics very memorable. And ideally, we want them to be actionable, right? We're not just putting information out there for the sake of, here's some information. We want to drive our readers to do something. It might be visit our website, might be sign up for our email list, it might be buy our product, or it might be something, informative or healthy, eat healthier, work out more, call your mother, whatever it might be. We're trying to encourage them to do something because of the information that we're sharing in that infographic. Now we do have an infographic design process, and it always starts with a creative brief. And so we at InfoNote here have infographic creative brief. That's a simple document. It has about 15 or this one 17 questions that we try to ask clients up front about what they want out of an infographic. And it asks about, how are you going to publish it? What's your key message? What's the deadline? Is the data available? Where's the data coming from? And it's really useful in scoping a project when you get started. And a lot of people have taken this and created internal infographic creative briefs. So if you're designing infographics for an internal clientele and you're an internal design team, feel free to take this infographic creative brief. I'm happy to share it with anybody, and build your own, depending on what your audience is and who you're designing infographics for. Now, our infographic design process is really a 5-step process that once we have that creative brief, We start with the data and make sure that we can get our hands on the data. The data says what we think it does. It's current, it's shareable, and it's valuable, good, believable data that we want to build into that infographic. We then build a wireframe, which is sort of a storyboard of what is the story that we want to tell. And that wireframe helps our customers understand that this is how that story is going to progress from a foundation and some introductory information to a main key message, all the way up to that call to action at the end. And we usually design that storyboard of that wireframe without any visuals yet. So we don't want to jump into design until we know what story we're trying to tell. That's when we jump into the concept phase. And the concept phase is pretty quick, but it's meant to be visualizing the data in a couple different ways, even designing a couple different ways that the overall feel and design style of the infographic might look. Might be different color palettes. It might be a fun, lighthearted design versus a more serious design. And then we iterate and get to a final design. And that usually takes, a handful of rounds of iteration and review and approvals and that type of thing. And most infographic designers that I know have some type of vector graphics tool that's their favorite. And that's basically their home base where the entire infographic is going to be built. And they may visualize the data in a charting tool and bring that in. They may edit some photos or some logos and bring that in. And they may, write some text, and they may bring in some icons. But basically, they have some type of vector graphics application or tool that is that home base to completely build their infographic. And it might be something big like Adobe Illustrator, maybe an online tool like Visme, like Payman's going to be talking about. And there are some, tools that some people I've even seen build infographics in PowerPoint. Sometimes that tool is what you have on your desktop. And so it is a vector graphics tool and can do the job if that's what you have at hand. The other half of infographics is that once you have a good design, and I coach that with good, but once you have a good design that you're ready to publish, it's really important to set it up to be a successful part of your content marketing strategy. And it's really, we need to talk about real quickly, how do you strategize the release of an infographic to be effective with search engine optimization? And there are, over 200 things that Google uses in their algorithm. But really the goal of an infographic in content marketing is to drive backlinks, right? So links from other high ranking sites back to your infographic on your company webpage. That's really the root of what you're after. So you want to have content that's shareable, and you want to get the word out so that other people link back to it. And one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that social media, for the most part, doesn't count. It's great for awareness and getting the word out, but social signals are not a big factor in Google's algorithm and drawing traffic to your website, but it is a great tool for getting people aware of your infographic. So you may get it in hands and in front of somebody else who would then take it and post it on their blog or on their website and post that link back, which is what you're looking for. The challenge is once you design an infographic. So here's an example infographic, and we designed this and we spent weeks working on the data and working on the design. When we publish it, what Google sees is nothing. All they can see is that, hey, this JPEG is going to be displayed when somebody opens up this page in their browser. They can't read the text in the JPEG. They don't know what that infographic's about. They don't have any idea why they would display this in search engine results. And so this is why we really got to prep and be ready to publish your infographic. And I love this quote from Ben Franklin, or it's attributed to Ben Franklin, that by failing to prepare, you're actually preparing to fail. You've really got to think about it. And I've seen so many companies just flop because all they do is throw their infographic out there on the company blog or on their Facebook page and just expect miracles to happen. And there really isn't. There is an entire infographic release strategy that we go through here at InfoNewt, and that I know other companies have their own strategies, that is just about what to do when you have a design complete and to publish going forward. And so we have 4 phases when we publish and promote infographics. We start with a landing page. We've got to make sure that that's crafted and ready to go. We help a company go through their self-promotion efforts where you do your own posts and your own social media. And then ultimately you get to the fun part, which a lot of companies just jump to too quickly, which is the outreach to influencers or to people in the industry and websites in the industry. And the last part is super important, which is tracking. So let's run through these real quick. So your landing page is probably the most important thing you can focus on. you need to have a structured landing page and spend some time auditing it, making sure that you've done everything correctly on the landing page so that when your readers get there, everything's in place. You can track it well later. There are sharing buttons that they can use to share it with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and wherever you want them to share it. The image is displayed properly. There's embed code if you want them to grab that embed code and share it. There are really these 11 things, and I know these slides are going to be available, and I'm not going to go through these in detail, but things like the title tag on the page or the alt text attribute for the JPEG image of the infographic itself, even the file name of the infographic that you display is important, and what words you use in that file name are important. And so these are the 11 things that we would audit with a client's landing page to make sure that it's going to be successful when they launch an infographic. The second phase is self-promotion, that once you have that landing page from a self-promotion standpoint, put it on the company page, put it on the company blog, the social media accounts, email it and email that link to all your customers or your email list of prospective customers. You want to broadcast this infographic to as wide an audience as possible through all of your company channels. And you want all of those links to point to that one infographic landing page that you have carefully crafted and set up to accept all these viewers so that it's ready for viewing, it's ready for sharing, it's ready for people to repost that infographic. It's all set up. So you want them all to go to that one infographic landing page. You also want to create shareable thumbnails. So if you've created one of these tall infographics like the one here on the left, what you don't want to do is try and share that really big infographic in all the social media accounts. So we generally create manually these different formatted thumbnails that are carefully crafted for the different social media accounts. There's a different size for Facebook, which is a different size from Twitter, which is a different size from Instagram. And so we'll create images either from the header or from a section of the infographic that's particularly interesting and we think is going to draw people in because it's, a key focus of the infographic, something like that. And we're not going to go through all those sizes here. There are plenty of infographics, as you can imagine, just about the different appropriate image sizes that you're going to post on the different social media websites. And this keeps changing. So the social media sites keep changing the appropriate image sizes for them as well. And so these infographics keep updating as well. And so it's, I just looked up the 2021, right? Because the 2020 infographic for social media image and video sizes changed from 2019. So it's worth keeping up with that. The reason we do that and we craft these carefully constructed image sizes for social media is that if you're not careful in social media, you'll get this really tiny thumbnail. And the issue is explicit versus implicit images. So, and this is an example is Facebook. So Facebook, when you put in a link, goes out there and tries to find a thumbnail image from that page that's linked to, and uses it as a visual display on the website. And if you don't have a good social media image ready, you'll get what's on here on the right. And so this is an implicit image. It went out and found an image. In this case, the infographic was so large, Facebook didn't know what to do with it. So it shrank it down and put the title of the infographic over to the right of it. An explicit image means that you've crafted the image and you literally upload that image to Facebook for the purposes of getting a full width in the newsfeed image of your thumbnail. So you get a nice big image in people's newsfeed, and they can read it and they can see it, and then they can click that link. And then depending on your your website platform where you're posting it, you may be able to upload those into your content platform so that Facebook picks it up automatically. And so there's some ways to do that. When you design those thumbnails, just really briefly, Facebook used to have what's called the 20% rule. And it used to be once you design this image, you would design this 5x5 grid, and they would only allow text on 5 of the 5x5 grid, the 25 squares, if you wanted to do any paid promotion for those. So if your company's doing paid promotion for your content marketing, you used to have to follow this 20% rule. They've now updated that to a new Facebook image tester. So whenever you create a thumbnail that's going to be posted on Facebook, I would highly recommend you use their free image tester. And it will tell you if your paid promotion is going to pass their test or if they're going to limit how many people see it because you've got too much text in your thumbnail image. And then you want to actually go out and post in all your company social accounts, whatever social accounts your company uses, and those sizes you've created, post more than once. Even if you create multiple thumbnails from different parts of the infographic, post different days of the week, post different times of day to catch different parts of your audience that are paying attention to social media at different times of day, once in the morning, once in the evening. You got people in different time zones, that kind of thing. Then you finally get into outreach, where now you've got your landing page crafted. You've already put your message out as a company. Now it's time to do some outreach to whether they're industry influencers, whether they're industry blogs. There might be blogs that follow your industry or industry websites, and try and get them to post links and encourage them to share that infographic with their audiences. And don't forget the last one, which is infographic sites. There are so many sites like mine, like Cool Infographics, that do nothing but highlight good infographic designs that can reach a whole new audience that you may never have thought of before. When you do your outreach, there's just some common mistakes that I just see all the time. So I get somewhere between 100 and 200 submissions every week for coolinfographics.com. And these will almost instantly get your submission thrown away. Don't send a form letter. It's obvious, especially when it, still has brackets and mail merge forms for fill in name here. Don't get the influencer or the web name wrong. So if you're using a form and you're copying and pasting, I can't tell you how many emails I get that it's actually to the wrong person, to the wrong website, because they just pasted it in and sent it to me. You really don't want to include the full JPEG image of your infographic in your communication, because you want them to link to your landing page, right? So give the influencer a link to your landing page, and let them grab that link or that embed code and that text, so that you really want that connection created onto the landing page. So that's really what you want to encourage in your communication. And then infographic sites, there are really three different types. Self-publishing sites, you can upload the infographic on your own, create your own links. Free submission sites like Cool Infographics, anybody can submit, but not all of them get posted. So like I said, I get somewhere between 100 and 200 a week, and I choose which ones get posted. And then there are paid submission sites where you can pay somewhere between $5 and $100 to get an infographic posted. And so on Cool Infographics, I have these lists of sites you can go take a look at, whether they're free sites or paid sites or self-publishing sites to go post. Don't forget PR. If you've got a PR team or you're working with a PR group, these are free press release sites that you can put up on your infographic as well. And then finally, do some tracking, right? Look at your website statistics, look at your social media statistics, use a tool that your SEO team may be using, like Moz or Majestic or something like that, to look at backlinks. How many websites have linked back to your infographic landing page, that carefully crafted page you created? And then finally, use a reverse image search tool, because you can find sites that have grabbed the image of your infographic but forgot to, or just neglected to, link back to your homepage. So you may find a whole bunch of sites that shared your infographic but didn't actually link back to your homepage. And reverse image search is a fantastic way to do that. It's here. It's built into Chrome. If you use the Chrome browser, you can right click on anything, on any image here, like this cat image, and it'll search Google for this image as one of the choices. Or TinEye, you can add to Firefox or Opera or something like that. And so that's my rundown of infographics. You can download the first chapter of Cool Infographics at the website, coolinfographics.com. And then you can always reach me through Twitter and the website and through email. And then, Farzad, I will throw it back to you.
Thank you so much, Randy. I think I myself got a full-on overload of information. So thank you so much. That was very, very helpful.
That was the fire hose of information about infographics. Yeah.
Some time to process all of them. No, thank you so much. That was very informative. We actually are having a ton of questions from the audience. So please stick with us, guys. We just have another 5 to 10 minutes of Payman's presentation, and want to go ahead and bounce off questions to Randy and Payman right after the demo section. So please stick with us. There's a lot of good questions in there, and we're going to answer them one by one. Alrighty, guys. So I want to introduce you guys to the founder and CEO of Visme. It's one of the top presentation and infographic tools in the market. So Randy mentioned, they run an agency to create professional-looking infographics. Now, what happens if you want to basically create an infographic by yourself? Let's say you run a blog or you have a company and want to pop out an infographic really quick. That basically you want to only spend a few minutes on. That's where kind of Visme comes in. So I'm not going to spoil anything. I want to go ahead and pass it on to Payman, and he's going to show you guys how to be able to create an infographic in the first place in a matter of a few minutes. Payman, how's it going?
It's going well. You can hear me okay?
Yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. Great information from Randy. As always, I've known him for a number of years and I always rely on him on tips when it comes to infographics. And so it's always great to hear him talk about that. And of course, infographics is one of the content types that people can create using Visme. So that's what I'm going to focus on. We are an all-in-one visual communication tool. So people use us to create presentations, infographics, and now animated graphics, short videos, and so on. And so, you think of a Visme as, let's say, a PowerPoint married with a design tool. And so, it's kind of in between all of those. Now, what you're probably looking at on my screen right now is I've got something about COVID-19. It's an infographic that my team created. And I'm just going to scroll down through this. And basically what I'm on is a URL. This is an actual published page where basically you can email to people as a link in the email or social media and so on. They click, they end up here. But I'm going to show you as well, of course, which is from an SEO aspect, you want to embed it to your own website. So I'll show that to you as well. And an example, because this is what's created by my team about a month ago or so, or a few weeks ago, I think it was. And if you look at it as I'm scrolling down, it's kind of interactive and things are moving. So that's the beauty of the infographics created in Visme, is that we give you all the assets and everything that you need, from images to data widgets to even these little icons that are animated. If you need them, we of course have tons and tons of static ones as well, maps that are interactive you roll over. And the reason I'm scrolling down through is you can just kind of get a visual of, you can create anything, add tables, and now in Visme you can create very interactive things. You can actually drag and drop these characters. We have them in human form, a mascot. You can adjust the poses and so on. So anyway, long story short, videos you can add in. So I'm going to really quickly show you how to do that because we have very limited time. Of course, you want to make sure you always have references as well. Now, this same infographic has been embedded into our own blog. So we have a very popular blog that we talk all about design, data visualizations, and presentations, and all sorts of topics. And so when we create that infographic, this topic was already written by our team. And then as I scroll down here, there is the infographic itself that's been embedded into here. So when people come in and you see the URL, what is coronavirus, and we've got a decent amount of shares going since it started. And I'm going to scroll down this real quickly, but look at this. Randy was talking about adding infographics as an image to your web page, which is great. I mean, that's a great way of doing it. In Visme, you also have an opportunity to actually embed it. And if you embed it, it ends up being HTML text. So what you see here is an embedded infographic. So these words are very similar to, let's say, words in your page. So they could be indexed by Google. Now, I will also, for those that are very SEO savvy, say that, when you embed something into your page, it doesn't necessarily get the exact algorithm rankings as, let's say, regular text because it is embedded content, right? But there is that possibility. It's versus an image. So I just want to point that out. And of course, you come down, as Randy mentioned, and this is a very tall infographic, by the way, a little bit taller than you probably want to usually create them. We just had a lot of information to cover in that one about COVID-19. There's the embed code. In our case, we made it a downloadable template. So you see there it is. People can grab this. They can even actually get the static image here so they can go and embed it. Anyway, so this was created in Visme. I'm just going to show you a little bit as far as what if you wanted to create your own in Visme. By all means, there's other tools as well that allow you to create infographics. That's some of the examples that Randy mentioned. And other ones that were on the list, and they're all great tools. And you can create find anywhere else. Let's dive into it. And I'm in a dashboard here. So to create mine, I can just click create. And then I decide and say what type of content I want to create. So I'm not going to touch about all of these. I'm just going to click on it. As you can see in Visme, you can create everything. It could be a web graphic. It could be printable. It could be documents you can create. And then, of course, presentations. We have these really beautiful presentations. But I'm going to focus on infographics here. So on infographics, we have some featured ones, of course, with COVID-19 and social distancing. There's some templates. But the way that we have it set up for creating infographics in Visme is just think about it as far as what is the structure of the content you want. What is it I'm trying to create? Am I trying to compare something? Then we have comparison templates. Am I trying to explain a process? Then we have process templates, right? And you do not have to worry about the colors or content and so on. It's just giving you a starting point. So if it's a timeline, I can do that, okay? Now you just decide on this format that you want to do. And of course, you can search by certain keywords like, hey, show me all the COVID-19, templates. So I could do that as well. But what I want to do in this case is to say, hey, I want to create an infographic and I want it to be, let's say, a process template. And I'll basically go down and select one of the ones that I want. So maybe it's this one, right? So what I can do then, and I'm going to open one up right here, right now, and say I selected one. I'm just, for the sake of time, I'm skipping through another tab. here's a template that I open up. And this was basically the content is based on Holocaust that one of the design team had created. We created alters a subject based on different content out there. But let's assume this was one and you wanted to adjust this. Then the way you can do it is on our system, you have a right panel. So I can actually add an empty content. I'm going to go through very quickly on this. So I can go in and very similar to other tools, you basically can drag and drop content. So I can go in and then maybe, you know, drag and drop something into the stage, and then I can just start adjusting things. Or if I want to get graphics, I can go and we have tons and tons of graphics here. So let's say I'm talking about health, right? I'll type that in and then just go and grab and drag and drop an object. In our system, you can actually change the color to whatever you want and then adjust it and make it as big and as small as you want it to, okay? So that's one way of doing it. The other way you could do is I can go to the right panel. So again, I have an option to add little blocks of content or add it as from a template. In this case, we've already created these little blocks. So Visme infographics are like slides stacked on top of each other. Imagine a presentation. All you do is you're just stacking little slides on top of each other. So let's say that I want to talk about charts and graphs. I'm going to go in, maybe add this, you know, as a block. I'll go add another one. And in this case, maybe I want to talk about a process. I'm going to go through, maybe grab this process one, okay? So, or this one. So you see what I'm doing is I'm creating a structure. I'm going to zoom out real quickly. And there's a structure in my presentation. I'm not worried about the infographic. And I can go up and down the blocks. I can move them up and down, and I can start adjusting, changing colors, and so on. So that's, you know, another way that you can go about it. You just create a structure and you keep going. Again, I'm not worried about the colors. I'll show you how you can, in a matter of one click, adjust that. I'm going to go through a few different things right now in a moment, so you can see how you can take your infographic to the next level versus it just being, let's say, static. So if you want to visualize data, this is huge, right? When you're doing infographics, you're dealing with a lot of little data. So we have these little data widgets, and all you do is just drag and drop them. I'm going to put another one here. So let's say that you wanted to visualize percentages. That's what you do. Again, I can change the color and go to whatever I want. I can adjust and make it to a percentage or ranges. Or if I want to actually talk about a population of something, again, you could actually do different icons. But I want to do male versus female. Maybe the ratio is like 30 to, I don't know, 20 in this case. So what I'll do is do that, and I can adjust and even change the color. So you see in a matter of a second, I'm visualizing data, put it next to a text, and I have it at any point. Keep going down, going to charts. If you want to talk about pretty impactful data, you want to visualize stats and figures, but it's going to be beyond just regular data. So what you can do is talk about charts. So in charts, we have a very powerful charting mechanism. You can see there's all these different chart types here. I can click, and I can go in and even copy paste data from outside. I could, by the way, even connect it to a live spreadsheet so it loads all the time. And then I can adjust all the settings. Again, I'm going to skip over just to kind of go through a little bit more on some of the features that you can do. Media, of course, in Visme, you can insert videos. We have a ton of library, mostly for presentations, but you can actually drag and drop videos. You could also go to the app section and actually embed videos from YouTube, Vimeo, and so on. That's very helpful because maybe what I'm doing is talking about COVID-19, and then I want to go ahead and, let's say, put a video on my stage. So look, here it is. Let's get rid of the chart. There's a video that I'm putting in next to that. So then I can actually control, have settings, and so on that. So that's one thing. Then I can keep going, right? So if I want to bring in my own assets and images, I can actually drag and drop or upload it. I have a library, so I can go ahead and add this to my canvas and use that in the future if I need to. Same with your logos, and the list goes on. So let me back up a second and say, hey, I'm done updating my infographic. I want to change the color theme and so on. I have to do it one by one. No, you do not. We have what's called theme colors. You can set up your branding colors, or you can go down here. We've carefully selected these colors, and you see what it's doing is changing the colors. This one didn't change because I added as an image, right? But if you look at everything else, it's adjusting. So there it is. And let's say that I want to do one more thing before I publish it. I know I have very limited time. So let's go ahead and add something else. I want to make it even more impactful. So I'm going to go to the left panel. These are exclusive assets in Visme. I'm going to go to graphics. You see we got all these static assets that you can do, thousands of them, but I want to make things really cool. I just want to spice things up. So maybe for the header, I want to make it a little bit more exciting. So I'm going to come down here, and let's just shift this down, and I'm going to go to illustrations. And then we have all these different categories. In this case, I'm just going to randomly pick one here. We've got an alters a style. So I'm rolling here, but I want to get the isometric one. Check this out. I just drag and drop it. It's already animated. Show me another tool that allows you to do this. And these are actually vectorized. You make it as big as you want. They are absolutely crisp. So that's how you can create more impactful content. One more thing, I'm going to go down here and I want to go ahead and add a little character here. You saw a little mascot, but let's get a little more realistic. So I'm going to go to the casual and I'm going to bring this little character because I want to bring some attention to this metric. So I'm going to put her here. I'm going to change her pose because she is announcing something, because we give you all these different pre-animated styles. So she's going to be explaining something. I want to speed it up. I want her to do it a few times. Again, there's other assets that we have as well. I can even change her skin color. I want her to be tan and I want her shirt to, for example, be something specific like blue or whatever. You see that? And then let's say I'm done. How do I share this, people? Well, you can share it as a link, which I showed you earlier, right? So you can publish it. You can make it private, so only specific people can see it with a password if you need to. And here we are. Here's the embed code, so you can embed it to your site. Last but not least, you can also go in and download it. So you can download as an image. You can also download as a PDF. Of course, the animation effects won't come through. And now we have it as video. Of course, for infographics, they're very tall. We don't provide you a video format unless it's a very short infographic. But all you really need is the online version, or you can present offline. If you want to take it completely and upload it to your website, you don't even want to embed it, you can present offline by downloading as an HTML5 version, and you can just add it to your site. Let's just real quickly, last but not least, see what this thing looks like, right? Let's go to the share link, and let's see what we created. There it is. So there is the animated version. There is the character as I'm doing that. There is the video that's playing. Oh, it's pretty loud, right? So I could even mute that. So there it is. I've created myself an infographic, which you can as well, and I can start sharing this online or embedding it to my website. Already, I think that covers it in about as little time as you could do. If you want to learn more, just go to visme.com or .co, same thing, and then maybe create yours.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Payman. I really appreciate it. I know we had very limited time here, so if you want to go ahead and guys, if you want to learn more about Visme and hear Payman actually taking you through the step-by-step process of creating content in Visme, we actually have a live webinar every single week. We have the next one coming up this Thursday, 11:30 Eastern time. So if you just Google Visme 101, you could go ahead and actually sign up for our live webinar that's coming up pretty soon. And we have that on a weekly basis. All right, guys, so we have a ton of questions from the audience, which is awesome. So I'm not going to waste any more time, and we're going to dive right in and make sure people get their answers. So I'm going to start off by asking us some questions from Randy, and then go ahead and focus on questions about Visme from Payman. So Randy, sorry. Gonzalo is asking, what's the most common size for a long format in terms of pixels? So if I'm creating a long infographic, what's a common size that people use, or if there is any?
Well, there used to be. The general rule used to be you wanted an infographic image when it was a JPEG to be 800 pixels wide. That was really what you wanted to be the full size. And then the length in pixels was determined based on how much content you had, right? Because you could scroll as long as you wanted. You'd want obviously your title and your header, what's called above the scroll, to be at least enough to give your audience the key point so that they knew what they were going to get when they scrolled more. But really, there was no limit to how long you could scroll it beyond that. But a lot of the modern browsers have really taken that over. So if you upload an image, it's going to create mobile-friendly image sizes. It may create 5, 6, 7 different image sizes so that if you open this up on your phone, you're not getting that large full-screen infographic. You're getting a smaller version to fit on your phone.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Randy. So also, Steve Watts is asking, would you comment on including the word infographic in the alternative text or elsewhere to tell the search engines that you have an infographic, or that's not necessary?
Yes. I think it's very necessary. Like I said, I didn't go into the details. There's best practices for every one of those 11 points, and one of them is the naming and the alt text of your infographic. And the sequence of words matters. And so I usually put infographic at the end, right? So your keywords of your title are more important than the fact that it's an infographic. So I usually tack on infographic as the last word.
Gotcha. Thanks. We also got another question from Vishal Deshpande. He's asking, how can we use infographic to get backlinks? So I'm going to answer this really quick because I was actually in charge of outreach for infographics on the Visme side, and obviously, Randy, feel free to pitch in and complete it. But normally there's 3 types of people that we reach out to at Visme. We use what we call the 80-20 rule. So we spend about 4 times the amount of time we spend creating a piece of content or an infographic, actually promoting that to get a positive ROI. And the 3 groups of people that we reach out to as far as infographics go is basically whenever we write a blog post, we create an infographic for it, and then we go out on Google and some other search engines and actually, look for opportunities that some other blogs have written about a similar topic, and reach out to the authors of those content and be like, hey, we just created this infographic about this topic. Let me know if you would like to, include this infographic on your site just to make it a little more appealing, make it look more visual and more snackable, and also give them the embed code. And I would normally recommend having some sort of like just attribution, just like a little quick intro sentence to them. Yeah, so that's an awesome way to get backlink. Another way is to reach out to people that are writing a lot of content, right? And basically ask these guys like, hey, I noticed you're guest posting on a lot of other blogs. I'm more than happy to use tools like Visme to actually create an infographic for blog posts they're writing, right? And just include, let's say, a link to my own resource, etc., in the infographic itself. So just creating these pieces of graphics for other sorts of companies. Obviously, that makes more sense for us because we're a design company, and I'm sure it does for you, Randy. But obviously, that's just another way. And last one of this is what you mentioned, is basically doing the reverse search image. So whenever you put out a piece of content, especially for a well-established blog, normally gets picked up by a lot of other resources. And lots of people forget to link back, or just they mention it, but they don't link back to you exactly. So doing
so
that.
Many people.
Exactly. Yeah. And not with the best intentions, not that they're not trying to credit you, but it's a good opportunity to reach out to these guys and be like, hey, can you make that link clickable so people can find us? Now we're getting a backlink. We actually have, Randy, I'm not sure whether you noticed, but we just released a new outreach tool called Respona that we run these campaigns from. It's kind of a streamlined process from finding these opportunities to get in their contact info and then emailing them. It's called Respona. Respona.com is our new baby product. So definitely go and take a look if you guys are interested. You can sign up for a trial. Alrighty. So next question is, Randy, do you have anything else to add on to that?
No, I went through it quick. I know I mentioned don't include the JPEG in your outreach emails, but that encourages people to just post the JPEG and not a link. If they already have it, right, it's so easy for them just to grab it and make a blog post, and they never link back to your site. Right. And that's the reason to give them the link to go, get the embed code if they can, or to link back to your website. And again, everything you design and publish is copyrighted. That's your content. So when you do that reverse image source, it is completely within your rights to ask somebody to add a link to it. There's no reason why you shouldn't reach out to them and say, hey, we love that you shared it. Would you please, include the link back to the original? We would really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I agree. All right. So Wimple's actually asking Randy if you could do us a favor and make your creative brief available for download somewhere, because I guess that would be very useful for a lot of folks.
Yeah, I should. Anybody wants it, email me. I'll send it to you. I've got a couple other handouts that are available on the InfoNewt website. I should just make the creative brief one of those, and I just haven't yet. But yeah, right. I should.
All right, no worries. We could probably ask the Semrush team if they can include the link also in the show notes so people can go and access those. Alrighty, so we have a few more questions for Payman, and then we can go back to Randy. So Payman, Rachel is asking, hold on a second. There we go. Sorry, Connie. Connie is asking, do you have any opinions on using Canva for infographics? Why would someone use Visme instead of other tools like Canva or Pictochart, etc.?
Sure. Great tool as well. And I would say the main differentiation is that with our tool, as you saw, was showing you, there is a very specific assets that you cannot find anywhere else. We spent over a year and a half with an entire design and animation team at Visme. Those animated illustrations, those characters or icons, you cannot find them anywhere else because they are exclusively created and provided within Visme. 2, our selection of infographic templates will be a little bit different. It's sometimes a little bit more business oriented and so on. And 3, the ability to be able to add interactivity, such as the ability, the way you can embed third-party videos and the controls you have on it. We go one step further. So what happens is a lot of people may start there and they graduate where they want to take things to a step further beyond that. So that's how we see ourselves at. And what I recommend people to create all of, to test all these products out and see the one that you like best, and go from there. Hopefully you'll end up on Visme, but that's a decision you'll make. Our job is to create a great tool.
Awesome, thank you. And Rachel's asking, do you offer any discounts to schools?
We do actually. We have a steep discount for students, for educators, and even also for schools when it's basically bulk number of users. What you would want to do is drop us a ticket to our support@visme.co. It's .co, not .com. And also, I'm not sure, Farzad, if that would be the best way, or do you want us to provide one of the customer success people? I'm assuming ticket would be best. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So once you sign up for Visme, if you guys are with the education domain, we automatically on our pricing page, we have education plans that you can choose from, but you can also start out just for free. Basically start out from a basic template. You don't have to enter a credit card or anything, just like Kindle and such. Yeah.
If it's a larger bulk, if it's like a school discount that you need across the board for a class and so on, for that, you would want to definitely send us a ticket, and we have very specific pricing we'll create for you.
Absolutely. And we'll put you in touch with our account managers.
Sure.
All right, perfect. So let me see here. Marty's asking, I've been putting my Instagram posts under an H2 with the title infographic minus the keyword or the topic. Any advice about placements and H2s? I'm not sure that that's it's a very broad question, Randy, but I was wondering whether you have.
I think you took IG to be Instagram, but you meant infographics.
Infographics, okay.
Yep.
I don't know why is that.
Yeah, so that's diving into SEO, right? So there should only be one H1 tag on a page, right, for Google to search, right? That should be the most important text you have on the page, and Google interprets that as the most important text. So usually we would use that as the title of our post, and then make sure we have our keywords in there. And then H2s would be secondary. So if you're putting your infographic under an H2, it's not as effective as putting it under an H1, but you can have multiple H2s on a page as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry about that for the blooper right there. All right, we'll cut this out.
We'll put that in post.
Right, it's live. Anyways, okay, Payman, Kate's asking, Visme, can you customize the colors using the hex code, the color codes?
Yes, you can. So you basically will be able to go in the editor itself. I didn't have a chance to show that because there was there's so much to cover with the tool. But you can click on any object, and then you have a color picker. And that color picker, you can just click the plus sign. You can enter your own hex code. I don't know if I mentioned this or not. For businesses and so on, you actually can create your entire brand theme. You can even lock down colors, your color palette, your logo, and all those things you can create in the dashboard area. There's something called the brand kit. But otherwise, you just want a specific hex code color. By all means, you can add that easily within the editor itself, the color palette.
Gotcha. Thank you, Payman. Randy, Amy's asking, is there a rule of thumb for the ratio of text versus image on an infographic? So you talked about the Facebook post, but is there a rule of thumb for infographics in general to be basically visually appealing, but at the same time informative?
Well, there's a general rule, which is too much text will turn people away. And we have in the design, and it's in the book, which is the 5-second rule for infographics, that you need to be able to communicate your key message in about 5 seconds, because people aren't going to read every single word top to bottom in your infographic like a news article. And so you need to be able to get your message across that quick. And so in our design process, in that review phase, when we're doing the iterations, we actually go find somebody who hasn't been part of the design process and have them look at the infographic, and only give them about 10 seconds to look at it, and then take it away and see if they got our key message. And that's usually our judge, whether we've got too much or too little text in there. If they're bogged down trying to read it, then we've got too much text.
Gotcha. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think it's more of a subjective matter. People have to use their best judgment in terms of basically this ratio.
We do find, people that just paste in paragraphs of text and save it as a JPEG and call it an infographic. I mean, people just walk away. They don't even bother reading it when they see that much text on an infographic.
Absolutely. Payman, do you have anything to add on to that?
I do, yes. So that happens all the time. It happens with our presentations as well when people are creating it. The tip would be it's not for you to narrate off of. Yeah, it's for the audience to just be able to get snippets of things. It's it's a snackable content. That's what it's supposed to be. So you just little bits and pieces, focus on the key points. And I think if you have list that Randy provided as far as the process that they ask as far as InfoNote, I think that was 16, 18 items. If you were to put that into an infographic, it should feel a lot more open, and that's like the max content. You probably would want to have, maybe a little bit more than that, but that's about it. And that infographic would probably be 3 times maybe the length of what that was there, because you're using visual cues to be able to present that. So each of those bullets would almost probably take 2 to 3 times that size, just as depending on how you design it. So yeah, absolutely, just keep it to the minimum. Get rid of the clutter and focus on the key points, and that's how it is. And I'll almost say like half sentences, not full ones.
Gotcha. Thanks, Payman. While I have you here, actually, I have another question. Can you embed a Visme into a PowerPoint or Google slide? And why would you do that in the first place?
That's a question for us, right? Yeah. So I think their question actually might be is that, can I download my infographic as a PowerPoint format? I think that's what the question is. Well, guess what? We've been working over 1.5 years on the ability to be able to export your presentations. I mean, it can be an infographic too, as a editable PowerPoint. And we are in a late beta stage. It's only available to our enterprise users. And very soon, in a matter of a few weeks, it's going to be available to all our paid plans. It is a paid feature in our tool. But I don't know why you would want to do that. I know it is. It's the fear of, I need to take it offline. You want to take it offline? Download as an image. You want to take it offline? Download as an HTML5 format, because that will maintain all interactivity and so on. And by all means, you can actually share it online. There's nothing wrong with sharing online. I think the other fear is, I want it to be private. You can have it private within Visme, not shared as a link. It could just be for you, or you could have a team and share it with others. So there's multiple different options that you can do that. It's a matter of preference. Short answer, yes, you'll be able to export as a PowerPoint very soon.
Gotcha. Thanks, Payman. Let me see here. Randy, Diva Dental Clinics is asking, is infographics in Pinterest advised?
Is it what?
It's
advised.
Right, yes.
Yes. So the short answer is yes. Pinterest is a great, scrolling interface where you can see the full infographic, and even just the stuff. I've got a Cool Infographics page on Pinterest where I post everything there that I post on the blog, and there's a whole different audience that just likes to look through the visuals. Like, they don't want to read all the commentary and the stuff I like and the stuff I post on Cool Infographics. They just want to skim through and just look at infographics about a category or a topic. And there are thousands and thousands of people that subscribe on Pinterest. It's a whole different audience. And so, yeah, I think Pinterest is a fantastic venue to publish your infographics as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Randy. Payman, visit Fargo Moorhead. Just asking. Go visit them, guys. Can you add your own fonts in Visme templates?
Yes, you can. I'm going to charge for that question. So, yes, you can. So we have over 100 something fonts that's available to everybody in Visme. Under the brand kit area, you can also upload your own custom fonts. So whatever fonts you have, you can do that. You can even hide our fonts, just like you can do with colors and so on. And another question sometimes people ask is like, can I have my own very specific templates in Visme? That's typically when you have like a team plan, like for a company to be able to only use their templates, and they don't want to see all ours. You can convert anything you create in Visme into a template, and you can hide all ours. And if you're very brand specific, you could do that as well, or have the best of both worlds. The short answer is yes, you can have all your fonts as well.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you. And I think that's it, guys. Yeah, we also ask, Pamela's asking, what's Randy's email address to email him? Randy, would you want to say that one more time just in case folks missed it?
If we'll show my screen again real quick.
Yeah.
It's there. There you go.
Awesome. Perfect. Randy at infonewt.com. All right, guys, don't bother him too much. Awesome.
You can get me on Twitter and Facebook, and that's fine.
Perfect. And Payman, what's the best way to reach you if folks have still more questions about Visme?
Yeah, LinkedIn would be a great way to get in contact with me. Just put my first name and last name, and you'll have one search result. And that'll be me.
Payman Taei.
Yes, that's right.
Alrighty. Okay, guys. Well, that's it. Just in case you guys want to drop by and say hi, I think there's one Farzad Rashidi in the world also, so I should be pretty easy to spot on LinkedIn as well. All right, folks. Well, that's pretty much it. We're getting very close to the 1 hour mark here, and I know you guys are tired, and also we're being, taking our special guest Randy Krum's time. So I think this is about time to wrap things up. So I wanted to thank you everybody for attending this live event. Definitely go ahead in case you guys are interested in Cool Infographics, visit Randy's website, coolinfographics.com, in case you need his help to create professional looking custom-made infographics for you guys. Definitely visit his agency, Infonute. Is that infonute.com as well?
Yep.
Randy?
Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. And just in case you guys like to create infographic for yourself, for your blog, and you want to do it yourself, it's a very easy tool. Visme, you can visit us visme.com or visme.co, and sign up for a free account, no credit card required, and can play things around and see whether that's something you guys want to use. All right, guys, and that's pretty much it for today. I also want to thank our special guest, Randy Krum, for coming and joining us today, and also Payman Taei for taking the time. I know he's a busy man. He never talks to me at the office, so chance I get to communicate. All right, folks, well, that's pretty much it. Hope you all enjoy using Visme, everybody. Have a wonderful Tuesday.
Thanks, guys.